So this is just a little video to talk you through the answers to the worksheet on Tay-Sachs disease, which is your first task for lesson 2 for this week. So a couple of key things I want to clear up in terms of what it's important to understand about Tay-Sachs disease. Tay-Sachs disease is an example of a monogenic condition. And it's key that you understand that a monogenic condition is one that is primarily affected by one gene. And with Tay-Sachs disease, as you will have read, if you have a mutation in the hexa enzyme, then if you've got a couple of if both of your alleles are mutated, so to speak, then you will develop Tay-Sachs disease. And so it's that idea that problems just with this one gene can result in you having Tay-Sachs disease. Okay, so if we scroll down to a couple of things you needed to fill in. The first thing you were asked to do was identify the phenotype associated with each genotype. Now, if you have one functional allele and one non-functional allele, hopefully you've put, I'll just see if I can get the pen to work, excellent, that you will be normal. Okay? And that's because if you have one functional allele, you will make normal hexa enzyme. And your neurons, your nerve cells in your brain, will have normal hexa enzyme with which to break down the toxic material into harmless material. You only need one functional allele to make normal protein, and with that you can have enough normal protein, normal hexa enzyme, to break down all of the toxic material in the cell. So in the case where they have one functional allele and one non-functional allele, the phenotype is normal, or don't have Tay-Sachs disease. Two functional alleles, again, similar idea. This time obviously you're only making normal hexa enzyme, so you will be normal in terms of the phenotype as well. No Tay-Sachs disease there. If you have two non-functional alleles, then you will only be making non-functional hexa enzyme in your cells, and the consequence of this is that you will not be able to break down toxic material. Toxic material will build up in the neurons. Toxic material will build up inside the neurons. Those neurons will suffer as a result, and the person will develop Tay-Sachs disease. So for that third phenotype, you should have written Tay-Sachs disease. Okay, so you have to have two non-functional alleles to present with the disease. Just to clarify, in case it hasn't been, if you're just a bit concerned about the word phenotype, the word phenotype means observable characteristic, right? And it's an observable, I apologize for my pen skills, we're still working on this, observable or detectable characteristic. So that includes things like hair color and eye color and blood type, and whether you have a disease or not, and so forth. If you can measure it, then it is a phenotype. Okay, and so hopefully as you read those next couple of paragraphs there, you came to this understanding that it's a monogenic trait, but it's also what we call a recessive trait. And if you require two identical alleles for a trait to present itself, then a trait is considered recessive, and Tay-Sachs disease is a recessive trait. Okay, we're now going to move on to the second page of the worksheet. In the space below, draw a Punnett square to show how two parents, both with the genotype FF, or big F, little f, could give birth to a child with Tay-Sachs disease. So, if the mum has the genotype FF and the dad has the genotype FF, the first thing you should be thinking about is what is the genotype of their gametes going to be. And so mum obviously produces egg cells, dad produces sperm cells. Okay. When the mum undergoes meiosis to produce egg cells, each egg cell will get one copy of this gene for the hexa enzyme. In half of those egg cells, or some of those egg cells, the big F allele will be present, just one, because our egg cells are haploid. And in the other possible egg cell is one with the little f allele. The dad, same idea. When he produces sperm, he can either produce sperm which carry one copy of the big F allele, the functional hexaenzyme, or the sperm can carry one copy of the little f allele. And so when you think about the Punnett square, what you should be thinking is that either this sperm cell fertilizes that egg, this sperm cell fertilizes that egg, this sperm cell fertilizes that egg, or this, I've done a really good job with that arrow, this sperm cell fertilizes that egg. Okay, and that's how you should be thinking about it. So that's obviously quite messy, which is why we draw the Punnett square. And we set the Punnett square up like this. I'm sure you've done some of these already. So if we put, let's put mum's egg, again, apologise for the penmanship, on this side, she's either big F or little f, and the dad's sperm genotype's up here, big F or little f, and so we either get big F, big F, big F, little f, big F, little f, little f, little f. Okay. And so what is the probability? I know that's not the question, but it's something you should be thinking about. What is the probability that they give birth to a child with Tay-Sachs disease? Well, there's a 1 in 4 chance that they give birth to a child with Tay-Sachs disease, or 25%. Okay. If you got any questions about this, right, there'll be a discussion forum set up. You can comment your questions there. So, what we have down below is pedigree charts, something on pedigree charts and the familial inheritance of Tay-Sachs disease, and this is a really key skill. So we're going to go through this, and then you're going to do another task with pedigree charts as well. So, let's see if we can, we're doing the genotypes of all individuals 1 to 10. I'm just going to leave the pedigree chart here. So pedigree chart is always a chart of phenotypes, and that's something worth stressing. It's a chart of phenotypes. In this particular pedigree chart, they've also shown us the genotype, which is a bit nice of them. So I'll just run through the answers so you can check your work. Number 1 is going to have the genotype big F, big F. Individual 2 is heterozygous, big F, little f, different alleles, heterozygous. 3, big F, little f. 4, big F, big F. 5, big F, little f. 6, big F, little f. 7, little f, little f. They're affected. Oh, that's gone off the page. I'll put 7 over here. 7, little f, little f. 8, big F, little f. 9, big F, big F. 10, big F, little f. Okay, so those are the answers. So if you've got questions about that, I'm going to set up a discussion forum for today's lesson on Blackboard. Well, it's already set up, and you can comment your questions there. Cool. Thank you very much.